What's going on is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for showing up in Houston. It was an awesome time. Great meetup. I can't wait to do it in the next city. I got to talk to my friends to figure out where it is that we're going to go next. So Houston was awesome. A ton of people. Great energy all the time. We keeping the record going of no dusties, no issues, no problems. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Also, on top of that, I am in Detroit, right here on Grand River. This is Motor City Casino. I'm not in the business of promoting any business that's not paying me in particular, or if you're not a bag chaser that I'm invested in. However, I do like to keep you guys up to date on what's happening within the city or some of the history of the city based off of me being here. That's the actual casino. That's the actual hotel. At one point, they were supposed to build a second tower, but then I guess that hotel was doing so well that they just decided to roll out like that. That whole thing is the casino also. They got a theater inside of it, and then it's the second most profitable casino in the city, owned by the Illages. The Illages are the same people that own Little Caesars Arena. They own Little Caesars Pizza. They own the Detroit Tigers. And so they have a huge footprint in the city. And on top of that, as you coming down the lodge, a lot of people travel downtown and then they get to the lodge. This is technically not downtown. Downtown is actually over there, right? And so if you're traveling down the lodge, this casino was one of the earliest casinos that actually took over a Wonder Bread factory. And then it benefited from the idea of being the first one that you come to coming down the lodge, because people were more likely to stop at that one than they are to go further downtown. And then ultimately Greektown is right down the street, and then MGM is right down the street, and then Greektown is in Greektown, where it's much more difficult to park. But anyways, neither here nor there. Just giving y'all a little bit of insight of what it is that I like to pay attention to on a regular basis, because I'm a fan of architecture, I'm a fan of history, and so I like to bring y'all along in order to be able to have that conversation, right? But the thing that I really want to hit on before I head into the office, and I love having these conversations as a sunrise because it gives me motivation and energy, is I was reading this morning as I was getting dressed about how the organizers of the Paris Olympics was basically saying that they apologize for mocking Christians and Jesus when it comes to the opening ceremony that they put on, that ultimately was drag, people in drag, and then depicting the Last Supper. All right. And they were saying that the goal wasn't to mock. The goal was to celebrate tolerance and community. And that we're all supposed to be even more tolerant of the bullshit, basically, of the BS that's going on in society. And we need to be even more inclusive. And so it was a celebration and the merging of two different things that ultimately was supposed to mean all of this other BS. Listen, I'm not going for none of this stuff. The thing that I've determined in my life from now on is that I'm less tolerant. The older I get, the less tolerant I become of the bullshit. The older I get, the more likely I am to say what I really mean. The older I get, the less likely I am to hang around people that spit in my face or trade on me, right? I'm very much still gonna do what I'm gonna do. And I don't mean that I gotta pay attention to you. It don't mean that I can't be forgiving, but I don't have to be tolerant of it. I don't have to keep letting you throw it inside of my face. And it's a few different things that as I get older, I'm less tolerant of. I'm less tolerant of people trying to push on me these agendas, such as the alphabet community keep trying to force this thing on y'all for y'all to accept and then adopt that into your lifestyle. I don't have to adopt this mentality that I don't think is right. I don't agree with it, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? We don't have to agree on a lot of things. I don't agree with a lot of the people that's in my family as far as every single issue. It don't mean that I don't love them. It don't mean that I don't pray for them. It don't mean that I don't want the best for them. It don't mean that I don't think that they should change their lifestyle. But at the same time, I don't have to agree with you. I don't. And more importantly, the part that I'm not tolerant of is that they pushing it in our schools and they trying to make sure that our bathrooms and then reprogram us slowly but surely. And when you opened up that genie, you can't put it back in a bottle, because now you're less likely to even see things the same way that you saw them 10 years ago as far as what you think is right or wrong. And I'm just not tolerant of it. I'm not tolerant of our women. And when I say our women, I'm talking about Western culture. I'm not tolerant of our women continuing to do the things that's the worst for us. Why should I be tolerant of the BS? Why should I be tolerant of people that's not doing the things that's in your best interest? I'm not tolerant of breaking up our families. I'm not tolerant of having children out of wedlock. It don't mean that people don't make mistakes. It don't mean none of that. But at the same time, there is no accountability and responsibility in society today for people continuing to do the things that they do. They don't own their mistakes. They force you to acknowledge that everybody is doing this and we should just normalize it. And that's the end of the conversation. Why should I tolerate or normalize something that I don't agree with? I don't normalize it. You correct it. And that's the thing that I stand on. Even in when you're thinking about the word of God, he says correction. He doesn't say tolerance. I'm not even sure that the word tolerance or tolerate or any version of it exists in the Bible. It says forgiveness. It says correction. It says the rod of correction. It says to chastise. It says a lot of things, but I don't remember it saying that. And we've gotten so far away from core values. And people often say, well, you know the difference between right and wrong as you grow up. It doesn't matter what religion you're in. That's BS. It's nonsense. It's a foundation that's established. And then when you establish that foundation, everything else springboards off of it. You see what I'm saying? So when they try to reprogram you to do things that you don't necessarily agree with, I don't agree with, and I'm not going to tolerate people being ignorant when it comes to going to the polls. I don't believe in voting based off of identity politics. Haven't y'all seen this play time and time again? You know what the problem is with humans, and I say this a lot of times, is that we don't live to be 120,000 years old. We don't live to be in our thousands anymore. And so what that does is it prevents us from really being able to learn a lesson and implement it into our own lives, because by the time that we realize it and we don't study our history, we don't pay attention to the lessons that happened before us. We just think that we just supposed to live and learn. I don't want to suffer the same way that people suffered before me. And so what I try to do is I try to learn from the history that came before us in order to make a better decision. And you can learn as far, we ain't even got to go back that far. We can go back to 2008 through 2012, 2012 through 2016 and realize, oh wait, identity politics didn't do anything for you. How much more representation that you need? What's next? So last time you needed somebody that just looked like you in the White House, and that was in 2008 through 2016. And I'm not going to say that everything he did was bad. But what I am going to say is he didn't do anything for you. He didn't do anything specifically for you that would warrant you to go based off of identity politics. Okay, so you got that out the way. And then the next time they're going to have, or what they're trying to do right now is they're trying to put her in because she's black and a woman, which she don't even claim, y'all. And she's so fake. She's so fake, right? Okay, so what's the next time? We got to make sure that we get an alphabet community member in there because they need representation too. How much more tolerant of the BS and pushing of agendas are you going to take? Because for me, I'm less tolerant as a 42-year-old man that have resources and the options to do and go and as I please whenever I want to. I am not tolerant, but I'm more caring about the future that I'm leaving behind for my daughter and the people that come after us. You see what I'm saying? So it's not even about you. Most of the time when we do things for ourselves, we do it wrong. That's why when you're coming out of something, and even if you go into an addiction program, they force you to start paying attention to how are you going to affect the people that's the most meaningful to you, and hopefully you make a better decision as a result of it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I can't wait to kick it with y'all on the morning show today. It's going to be awesome. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'm sure it's going to be relevant. I got to pay attention to what's happening over the weekend. I was so focused on what was happening in Houston. But I do. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. And I can't wait to tune in. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. And then also, Teach Hanley, 40% off your first order, 20% off of life. Get that in the description. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm going to holler at y'all later.